Here's one thing that surprised me beyond any other mind tricks. Every time you get triggered, it's not a problem to fix, it's a gift to unwrap. I know, you you might be thinking, Annette, it's insane. But listen, when I'm triggered, I feel like I'm drowning. I am angry, I'm reactive, I'm completely out of control, and I blame. How is that even a gift? Well, let's see. Because what I'm about to share with you will completely change how you see yourself, your reactions, and your path forward. Your triggers are not random. They're not weaknesses. They're not proof that there's something wrong with you. Your triggers are breadcrumbs leading you back to the way you were taught how to behave and be. Does it resonate? Well, how you're abandoned in your presence and in your emotions are the key things. Not to judge anyone, and until you understand this, you'll keep reacting the same way, feeling the exact same shame, and wondering why you can't seem to move forward, no matter how many self-help books you read or how many retreats you attend. So today, we're going deep. We're going to talk about what triggers really are, why they show up, and most importantly, how to use them to unlock the creative power and freedom that's already within you. Let's begin. So first, let's get clear on what a trigger actually is. A trigger is an emotional reaction that feels disproportionate to the present moment. Someone makes a comment in a meeting and suddenly you're flooded with rage. Your partner forgets to do something and you feel completely unseen and undervalued. Someone questions your work and you spiral into self-doubt for days. And in that moment, you tell yourself a story. I'm too sensitive. I'm overreacting. I need to get it together, or you blame. But here's what's really happening. You're not overreacting to what's happening right now. You're reacting to what happened way back of how you were not being seen or validated. Your trigger is a time machine. It's taking you back to a moment, usually in childhood, when you felt the exact same way. When you felt rejected, unseen, unworthy, unsafe, and your nervous system, it doesn't know the difference between then and now. Quite interesting. It just knows danger. Protect yourself. So it activates. Fight, flight, freeze, or fawn. And suddenly you're not a grown woman, a leader, an entrepreneur. You're 5 years old again, trying to survive. Remember the fights you have with your spouse, for example. This is why triggers feel so overwhelming, because you're not just dealing with the present moment, you're dealing with decades of unprocessed emotions. And nobody taught you this. Nobody told you that your triggers are actually showing you exactly where you need to heal, where you need to go back and validate the part of yourself that never got what she needed. Instead, we're taught to suppress it, control it. Don't be so emotional. Don't be so dramatic. Just get over it. But you can't get over something that's living in your body. You can't think your way out of a nervous system response. You have to feel it. You have to face it, and you have to go back and meet the younger version of yourself who's still waiting to be seen. Let me walk you through some of the most common triggers I see in the women I work with. See if any of them resonates. Trigger 1, being questioned and criticized. Someone challenges your idea and you immediately feel defensive. Your heart races, you feel like you have to prove yourself, justify your worth. What's really happening? You're back in a moment when your voice didn't matter. When you were told you were wrong, stupid, not good enough, and you learned, my value depends on being right. Trigger 2, being ignored or overlooked. You share something in a meeting and no one responds. Or someone takes credit for your idea and you feel invisible, like you don't matter. You recognize this? What really is happening? You're back in a moment when you weren't seen, when your needs were dismissed, when you learn, I have to fight to be noticed. Trigger 3, someone being disappointed in you. You can't meet someone's expectations and the guilt is crushing. You'll do anything to fix it to make them happy again, even if it means abandoning yourself. What's really happening? You're back in a moment where love felt conditional. When you learned, I'm only worthy if I please others. Trigger 4, feeling controlled or told what to do. Someone gives you direction and you feel rage. You resist even when it's logical. You need to do things your way. What's really happening? You're back in that moment when your autonomy was taken away, when you had no choice, no voice, and you learned, I have to fight for my freedom. Do you see the pattern? I'm sure you do. Every trigger is pointing to a core wound, a moment when you didn't get what you needed. Safety, validation, love, being seen, autonomy, and you created a survival strategy to cope. And that strategy worked when you were young. But does it work now? It's keeping you stuck. And think of how much time and mind spin you spend arguing or holding a grudge. So why do triggers keep showing up? Why can't you just get over it and move on? Because unprocessed triggers create patterns, and patterns create your reality. So let me explain. Every time you get triggered and you react from the wounded place, you defend, you shut down, you people please, you control. You're enforcing the original wound. You're telling your nervous system, see, I was right. I'm not safe. I'm not worthy. I can't trust. And your brain loves patterns. It loves to be right. So what does it do? It seeks out more evidence to confirm that belief. You start seeing criticism everywhere. You start feeling overlooked in every situation. You start attracting people who disappoint you. Not because the universe is against you, but because your nervous system is looking for what's familiar. And this is where it gets really important, especially for women in leadership, women building businesses, women trying to create something bigger than themselves. You cannot create from a triggered state. When you're triggered, your prefrontal cortex, the part of your brain responsible for creativity, problem solving, strategic thinking, goes offline. All your energy goes to survival, and your survival mode doesn't innovate. It doesn't take risk. It doesn't dream big. It just tries to stay safe. So if you're constantly triggered by feedback, by challenges, by uncertainty, you're operating at a fraction of your capacity. You're not accessing your full power. You're not using your unique blueprint. You're just reacting, depending, and surviving. And that is exhausting. That's why you're burned out. That's why your success feels so heavy. Not because you're not capable, but because you're carrying decades of unsuppressed, unprocessed, there you go, emotions while trying to build a life. So here's where everything shifts. Here's where the triggers become your greatest teachers. Every trigger is showing you exactly what you need to heal. It's not random. It's not a flaw. It's your inner wisdom saying, hey, there's something here that needs your attention. And when you start to see the triggers this way, not as a problem, but as information, everything changes. Instead of shame, you feel curiosity. Instead of resistance, you feel openness. Instead of trying to fix it yourself, you start to understand yourself. So let me give you an example from my own life. For years, I was triggered by rejection. Anytime someone didn't choose me for a project, for a relationship, for anything, I would spiral. I would feel worthless. I would question everything about myself. And I tried everything to fix it. I read books. I went to therapy. I did the work. But nothing changed until I stopped trying to get rid of the triggers and started listening to it. I went back, way back, back to the moments of my childhood when I felt rejected, when I felt like I didn't belong, when I learned that my worth depended on being chosen by others. And I met that little girl. I saw her. I validated her. I told her what she needed to hear back then, but never did. You're worthy exactly as you are. You didn't need anyone's approval. You're enough. And slowly, the trigger lost its power. Not because the rejection stopped happening, but because I stopped abandoning myself when it did. I stopped looking outside for validation. I stopped making other people's choices about me mean something about my worth. I became my own source of validation, my own source of love, my own source of safety. And that's freedom. So how do you actually do this? How do you work with your triggers instead of being controlled by them? Well, step one, most importantly, notice without judgment. The next time you get triggered, don't try to fix it. Don't try to suppress it. Just notice it. Oh, I am triggered right now. My heart is racing. I feel defensive. I want to shut down. I want to blame. I want to run away. That's it. Just observe. No shame, no story, just awareness. Step two, pause before you react. This is the hardest part because when you're triggered, your body wants to react immediately. It wants to kill, defend, attack, flee. But if you can create even a 5-second pause, breathe, ground yourself, feel your feet on the floor, you create space between the trigger and your response. And in that space, you have a choice. And if you need an hour to do that, yes, just say, I'll come back to you with a response, I promise. I have to think about it and make it clear. So give me an hour. I will be back. 3, ask yourself, what is it really about? This is where the magic happens. Instead of focusing on the present situation, go deeper. When have I felt this way before? What does this remind me of? What did I learn about myself in that moment? You're not trying to analyze it intellectually. You're feeling into it. You're letting your body show you the truth. 4, meet the younger version of yourself. Close your eyes. Go back to the moment. See that little girl. Feel her who felt rejected, unseen, unworthy. And give her what she needed then. Tell her she's safe. Tell her she's loved. Tell her she's enough. Tell her anything yet that you need to. And imagine you're giving back the information to whomever gave it to you in the first place. This isn't woo-woo. This is nervous system regulation. You're literally rewiring your brain to give yourself the experience you never had. Step 5, choose a different response. Now, come back to the present and ask yourself, what would I do right now if I wasn't triggered? What would I do if I trusted myself completely? And then do that, exactly that. Maybe it's setting a boundary. Maybe it's speaking your truth. Maybe it's walking away. Maybe it's staying present. But put words to it. I feel, do not point your finger and blame. Then you're right back where you started. It's training your mind to think differently. Practice it. Wherever it is, you're choosing from your power, not your wound. And here's what I want you to understand. You don't need to get rid of your triggers. You need to transform your relationship with them. Because triggers will always show up. Life will always present you with situations that activates your own wounds. But when you know how to work with them, they stop controlling you. You stop reacting from fear. You stop abandoning yourself. You stop building your life on a foundation of survival. And you start creating from your power, from your truth, from your unique blueprint. You start trusting yourself. You start taking risks. You start showing up fully without the constant worry of what others might think. And that's when everything changes. Your business grows because you're no longer playing small. Your relationship deepens because you're no longer performing. Your life expands because you're no longer living in fear. Not because you became perfect, but because you became present and whole. So that the next time you get triggered, don't run from it. Don't shame yourself for it. Thank it. Thank it for showing you exactly where you need to go, exactly what you need to heal, exactly who you need to become. Because on the other side of the trigger is the version of you who's free, who's powerful, who's unstoppable, and she's been waiting for this exact moment. If this resonated, subscribe to this channel. I'm here to guide you back to yourself, one trigger at a time. Because remember, you have all the answers within you, always. You just need the courage to look. So I'll see you next week.